it looks to me like you could do, say, exopsychology, that is, exobiology is talking about what must life forms in other planets be like. Exopsychology is sort of, well, what must the minds of intelligent beings on other planets be like? And what's universal are kind of the structure of mathematics and logic. So any intelligent beings that evolve anywhere in the universe are going to get, like this kind of cognitive process. The functions that are familiar to us from basic math and logic. And why? Because the world is like that. Because the world is like that. And so any musical instruments anywhere on Earth, or anywhere in the universe probably, are going to have certain kinds of properties. They will come to have those properties because of the principles of harmony, which already are there, which already exist. Think about mathematics that way. Mathematicians and logicians don't invent math proofs the way like a poet might invent a poem. They discover them. They're there. They discover them. And so, the proof for the infinity of prime numbers, say, was already there. It didn't come into existence when some human being realized it. It was there to be realized. It was there to be realized. It was part of the, if you will, the implicature of the world. So, this is an argument for dualism. The dualism, really, the way Plato has it, is that you're physical, but that is, your body, but you're also formal, that is, your mind, you have a mind, that is, you participate in this stuff. You can do geometry, you can write out scales and compose music, you can do math and logic. So there's a part of you that, and remember, this part down here comes to be and passes away. This part up here is all eternal and unchanging. It's like, this is the Heraclitus part, this is the Parmenides part. This is the part that is mortal and constantly changing. So you have part of you is material and part of you is formal. And then you can also see his sort of hostility to the body, because he thinks, he valorizes the formal over the material, and he thinks that the material is the part where we get imperfection. These aren't perfect circles, and these things aren't perfectly harmonious, and these things aren't perfectly rational. But rationality is perfect, harmony is perfect, and circularity is perfect in and of itself. It's only when it gets mixed with the physical that it becomes imperfect. So remember, and so now we can start to see the Christianity emerging from the Platonism. Remember, original sin. Original sin is being of the flesh. It is the fact that you are incarnate of the flesh, such that you are imperfect. That's why you're a sinner. Right? That's the doctrine. That's straight ahead Platonism. That comes straight out of Plato. It's not as if the people who were composing the Gospels didn't have any influences. They did. They were learned, educated people. And one of the things that they studied was the Platonic philosophy and the Platonic metaphysics. So the doctrine of the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, right? That's the form, the matter, and the interaction of the matter and the form. It's Plato. Yeah.
In any case, then, what did they believe? Where? Because they, Plato and Aristotle, and they already kind of theorized where the body came from, how they could, where their beliefs on where the psyche came from. But then you would have to start looking for another being that created that. In our case, that would be God.
I get your drift. I get your drift, and your drift is again right on, just like the other thing you were saying. First Ricky, and then we're going to excavate this. Yes.
Well, I was going to say that the similarity of the instrument harmony with us would be that instrument that would be getting those parts together through life,
Yeah.
to get in harmony with our soul.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, nature ran its course, and we have the bodies that we do, like, I guess brains like we do, right? Because we were being selected to be intelligent, to solve problems, to survive. And in order to be intelligent, to solve problems, and survive, you need to be one of these kind of things. The kind of thing that can figure stuff out, right? The kind of thing that can put together the logical entailments and the logical necessities and see what's happening. Now, notice this. Getting back to Heraclitus and Parmenides. Remember that world with Parmenides? I'm sorry. What's your name again? I should know my name. So the issue for Heraclitus says everything's constantly changing. You can't step into the same river twice. So the river's always flowing on. That is, if Heraclitus is a materialist, he thinks what exists is matter, then the river is the matter, the water that's in the river, and it's constantly flowing on. So it's not the same one from time to time. And so seeing everything as flux, as the fluye, right, the way that Heraclitus sees it, then anytime I have some knowledge of the world, that knowledge of the world will be just only indexed to that moment in the life of the world. Because the next moment, the world has changed, and it's not the same. So if everything is the way Heraclitus says it is, just matter flowing and fluxing and coming to be and passing away, then any kind of general or universal knowledge is not possible. Because as soon as I have a description, the thing I'm describing has changed. So the reason that Parmenides, who was very mysterious to a lot of the Greeks, but Plato kind of got Parmenides, and Parmenides inspired Plato, because Plato realized that in order to have knowledge of something that's stable and general and universal knowledge, I have to find something that exists that's stable and universal and general. That's that connection between metaphysics and epistemology. So notice that stuff like radius times the radius times the circumference equals the area, or whatever it is. That kind of stuff, right? Or last time I was talking about more quotidian examples like the property of being red and the property of being a horse. Remember that example? We have the set of all horses. It's the same set now that it was 200 years ago, but it's all different physical horses. Something has remained the same, and that is he would say, and this, of course, this is not evolutionary at all to say, but he would say there's sort of like a hoarseness, a kind of paradigmatic horse, and then there's the coming to be and passing away set of all the physical horses, and they too are what they are through participation. Now, notice there's a big interaction problem too. Why is the form and the matter? Why do the form and the matter interact? Which is a problem. But this stuff, these relations, these formal relations between sets and areas and things, right? And then remember, there's also red. And that's going to work the same way. Those things are true now, true 100 years ago, true here, true in China, true on the planet Venus, true 200 years from now. That stuff, that Pythagorean stuff, that doesn't come to be and pass away. The properties and things, the formal properties, don't come to be and pass away. Like the mathematical and logical geometry. This is not about anything in particular. This is about everything. It's about everything and nothing. The reason, in fact, you might wonder why in math and logic we do these x's and y's instead of just using concrete examples. Notice when you took elementary logic, interlogic, they start you off with concrete examples, and then they walk you into the formal notation. But the reason for the formal notation is because you're actually looking at the structure of the argument. So you want to formalize it because you're not talking about any particular physical things. You're actually talking about the structure of the logical argument, and similarly with mathematics. And once you can formalize, once you realize you can formalize it, then you can get a calculus where you can plug in different inputs and get different outputs, and you get the differential calculus, and you can do engineering, and you can build Western civilization. You know, it's not all just mystical. You know, these are realizations that he's having that are laying the foundation for real concrete activity. Yeah.